In today's video, we're going to cover the devices you need to make your home smart. In the next couple minutes, I'm going to show you 4 categories of must-have devices that'll take your home from being plain to awesome. Watch until the end as I cover these categories as well as give you a bonus tip. With that, let's dive into the essentials of what every smart house needs. As a reminder, a smart home is a convenient home setup where appliances and devices can be controlled automatically or remotely with an internet connection and using a mobile or other network device. Devices in a smart home are interconnected through the internet, allowing the user to control the functions such as security, access to the home, temperature, lighting, and a home theater. Take a look at my video linked in the description where I explain how to make sure you have a stable network connection as the foundation of your smart home. Although this list is in no particular order, I personally think smart home security is one of the most important categories in this list. If I were building a smart home from scratch, this will be where I would start. In this category, you have devices such as smart locks, cameras, video doorbells, as well as DIY alarm systems. Let's quickly discuss the benefits of each of these devices. Have you ever been rushing out of your house, or perhaps even on vacation, and you thought about whether you left a door locked or unlocked? Perhaps you have visitors and you need to give them access to your property, but you don't want to necessarily give them a physical key. These are some of the use cases where a smart lock can be very beneficial to you and your smart home. Many smart locks have features such as auto lock that will lock after a certain period of time, or even after you leave a specific area, or what they call a geofence. With many of these locks, they have apps that you're allowed to give users access that you can remove at any point in time. This makes it super convenient if, let's say, you had a visitor for a week, or maybe you had a dog sitter that you want to give them access to your property for specific hours, and then outside of those hours, you don't want them to be able to come in and out of the property. These are things that you just can't do with a physical key unless you were to actually take it from someone every single time. Who's doing that? Okay, the next device that we're going to cover is security and alarm systems. There are tons of DIY kits out there, and many of them you start with the starter kit and you can expand as your home grows or as your needs grow. Some of the more popular players in this space include Ring and Simply Safe. The advantage of both of these brands is they actually still offer professional monitoring, even if this is a DIY kit that you're putting up yourself. The thing to keep in mind here is almost all of these units are going to have some sort of hub that all the sensors are then going to connect to. Common components of a system like this are contact sensors that you would use to monitor whether a door is open or closed, or perhaps a window is open or closed. Motion sensors to detect when a person or animal is entering or exiting an area, and keypads or transponders, some way to basically arm or disarm the system without needing to use an app. Okay, we've covered alarms, we've covered smart locks, and the last thing I'm going to cover in this section, video doorbells as well as cameras. Well-known players in this space include Ring, Logitech, Nest, Eufy, as well as Ecobee. I know some people have concerns about privacy and use of cameras, but cameras really do provide an advantage. Cameras provide a way for you to have eyes and ears on your property when no one is there. They allow you to monitor their property as you see fit, as well as you can set a lot of these systems up to get important alerts and notifications for things such as motion alerts, whether a person or animal is detected. Some of the more sophisticated systems can even let you know if they detect that a package has been dropped off. I'll put a link to it here, but in my last video, I mentioned how important it is to do your research and have an idea of what type of platform that you may want to go with, because there are some of these camera options only work with one platform or another. I will say if you pick out one particular camera and maybe it doesn't play nice with the rest of your ecosystem, that doesn't 100% mean that all hope is lost. Sometimes there are some workarounds for solutions like this, but they tend to be a little bit more complicated, and you may even need some additional hardware and software to make these things talk to one another. Just make sure you do your research, and as best as you can, find devices that are cross-platform and can work across different networks. I will say one of the big decisions you're going to have to make in this space is related to how the cameras are going to connect to the internet. For the most part, you're going to have 2 options. That's either you hardwire them or you connect them over Wi-Fi. The advantage of wireless cameras is you could pretty much put them wherever you want to. Downside of that is you're going to be dealing with batteries. So keep that in mind. If you got a 2-story house or something where you're putting cameras up high, At some point, you're going to have to bring that camera down and charge those batteries. The other downside of this is your performance of the camera is relying very heavily on how stable your wireless network is. Okay, this brings us up to the second option, and that is going with wired cameras. These in general are going to provide you with the best performance and overall stability in this space. However, the downside is if you have an existing home, if you're renting, this can be a little bit more challenging as far as planning out where the wires are going to go, because running these additional wires can be more difficult later. I will say, if you are one of those people that are fortunate enough to be building a home, this is something strongly to consider with your builder, is marking out those locations where you think those cameras are going to go and putting those wires in and pre-wiring that ahead of time. It's going to save you a lot of pain and heartache later on. Next, we're going to cover one of the most popular devices, and that's smart thermostats. Probably made famous by the original Nest, this space now contains Amazon, Ecobee, as well as Honeywell, just to name a few. The advantage of these smart thermostats is they allow you the ability to heat and cool your home remotely. You also have flexibility as far as being able to set custom schedules to heat and cool your home depending on your specific needs. Overall, these devices can save you a lot of money because you're not going to be wasting energy heating and cooling a home when you're not there. The other cool thing is more and more of these thermostats are starting to come out with sensors. Those sensors help your unit determine where hot and cool spots may be, and it'll run your system accordingly to help balance things out. Another bonus is with some of these, they actually have motion sensors. So what they can do is they can detect if a particular room or area is occupied or unoccupied. And what it could do is if you have zone heating or cooling, it can actually help you control shutting off those zones into particular areas where nobody's at, and then focus the energy of heating or cooling into those spaces that are actually occupied. I love smart thermostats because they are huge as far as convenience. This is one of the devices on the list that's going to pay for itself very quickly, because you are going to save a lot of money as you start to reduce the cost of your energy. Another thing is check with your local utility department. A lot of them will actually offer rebates for smart thermostats. I've seen everything from $50 to $150 off particular units, because the energy company knows it helps them also with reducing the amount of energy that's being used on the grid. If you made it this far, hopefully that's because you're getting value out of this video. If so, please consider like, subscribe, comments. That really keeps me motivated to keep doing what I'm doing for you guys. With that, we're covering the next category, and that's smart lighting. This category I also love as well. This includes smart light controls as well as smart bulbs. I love this space because not only can you cover just the basic fundamentals, this is where you also can start to enable some creativity, as well as being able to show off your personality with how you may decide to light certain areas of your room, or you may be able to do certain actions when it's game day or movie time. The other reason why I love this space is smart lighting also can save you energy, especially when it's paired up with something such as a smart alarm or even like motion sensors. So that way you can turn lights on and off just based off of if motion is detected, as opposed to having to keep something constantly on or off. You probably know by now. If not, I'm a huge fan of Lutron. By all means, they are not the cheapest solution. I've tried others in the past, and I truly feel you get what you pay for with Lutron. They're extremely reliable, and flexibility wise, I think they're the best. They pretty much work with almost every single platform. I've linked a video where I show you how I've installed some of these switches in my home. These switches can be used to automate lights to, let's say, come on and off with dusk and dawn, or it could be paired with motion sensors to increase your automation options. You may be in situations where you don't want to deal with wiring, and that's fine, and that's where smart bulbs come into play. You can find bulbs that are geared more towards a soft or daylight setting, but then there are colorful RGB lights that can be used to create a completely different and unique experience. If you're smart about your selections here, you can find options that will provide you with the best of both worlds. For bulbs and light strips, I'd recommend you check out the following manufacturers. Philips Hue, LifeX, Nanoleaf, TP-Link, and Govee are just some of the ones that I think are really good in this space. Okay, this category is cool because I think of this as like the retrofit category. This allows you to take devices that aren't naturally smart and make them smart. Let me explain. Think about something as simple as a box fan or even holiday lights. You can now take these basic devices, plug them into a smart plug, and plug that into the wall, and now you have the ability to automate it or set it up with custom sync. Some good smart plugs and outlets to look for in this space include TP-Link or Casa, Amazon, Wemo, Lutron, as well as Eve. I will say, when you're picking out something in this space, make sure you refer to the manufacturer's guidelines as far as what devices they recommend or don't recommend that you plug into their smart plugs. You don't want to overload these plugs. If you're somebody that likes to geek out over the technical stuff, one of the cool things is a lot of the smart outlets as well as smart plugs have the ability to let you know how much energy the device you have plugged into it is consuming over time. You can use this to your benefit to find ways to maximize your overall energy consumption. Smart devices can greatly improve the quality of our life as well as save us a ton of time and, in some cases, money. Now, as much as we want our devices to play together nicely, sometimes that just doesn't happen. This is where a service like IFT comes into play. Now, you might be thinking, what is IFT? IFT is an acronym and it stands for if this, then that. This allows you to automate an action based off of a certain trigger or an event. An example could be, if my video doorbell detects motion, I want it to automatically turn on my porch lights. A service like IFT can greatly expand the capabilities of your smart home and how your devices interact with one another. Up next, we're going to cover more of the items that are smart but a little bit more convenient. Hit me up in the comments and let me know what areas of the smart home do you want me to dive deeper on. But for now, check out this video that YouTube recommends for you.